What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is your weekly reactor hunt video for the First Descendant. You guys know the deal. Every week on Tuesdays, missions reset and essentially reactor combinations can drop from different missions in the world, and you can therefore farm certain reactors from certain missions which have a higher than usual drop rate, and it's those missions or those farms that I tend to highlight in these videos. But first things first, we have a list like this, every descendant in the game with their best in slot reactor. Then we can combine those up together so that you can see that certain descendants use the same reactor, which cuts down on your farming time and is absolutely helpful for sure. Now this week covers from the 4th of February until the 11th of February 2025. And we're going to start off with Blair, because we're looking for a Blair reactor, which is a burning phase reactor, which is fire and dimension. This is a good week for you, and you can actually set up a pretty decent farm. I will also quickly just say that this week has a lot of farms which use Valby. Technically 4 out of 5 of them are Valby, so hopefully you got your Valby dusted off and ready to go. If you're looking for the exact Valby build that I'm using in this video to essentially farm these outposts, then I have a video for that on the channel of course as well. But when we are looking for this reactor for Blair, we're gonna go over to here, we're gonna go to Agna Desert, and we're gonna look for an area here, Mirage Stone. Mirage Stone has an outpost in it. This outpost can be done in the Valby method, which essentially means that you go around on the inside of the outpost, killing the 4 reactors or 5 reactors, however many there are, and then spending time killing all the enemies that spawn on the outside ring of the outpost while avoiding to actually kill the boss. You do this by making sure that your third ability, your line, your AoE, is not too big and at the same time not geared for too much damage. So you definitely want to scale your damage down a little bit if you have your Valby all the way kitted up. As I said, there is a build on the channel specifically for that, literally called the Valby method. But try to keep the boss alive, and for 2 minutes and pretty much 40 seconds you'll be able to farm a bunch of reactors as well as gold, Kuiper, weapon proficiency, character XP, and so on, and hopefully you get the Blair reactor that you're looking for. Then next up we have Ajax, Kyle, and Luna. So all 3 of these descendants, their reactor of choice is materialized mechanics, which happens to be non-attribute in tech. And bear in mind that this is the heal version of Luna, so you can of course build Luna in 2 different ways. You can build her to be a heal bot, and in that case she uses materialized mechanics, or you can build her to essentially deal AoE damage, and then you would rather be looking for a non-attribute singular reactor. So that's not what this is. This is non-attribute tech, like I said, for Ajax, Kyle, and Luna. So for that you can go to an area of the world called Fortress, and Fortress has a sub area in it called Defense Line. It's over here. And this also has an outpost that you can do in the Valby method. This is the OG Valby method outpost. This is where it all basically started. So it's not as good as it used to be. It's unfortunately been nerfed at least twice. So the drops aren't as mad and crazy as they used to be, and there's not as much XP and gold and things like that here, but it's still very, very good and still probably the best way for you to get a shit ton of these reactors to drop, and hopefully the one that you're looking for. Then next up we have the lady herself. So of course Valby, Gley, and he who shall not be named, his mother's biggest disappointment, Jayber, all use the following reactor, materialized phase reactor. So this is non-attribute dimension. This is the reactor of choice for these 3 descendants, and if you're looking for a farm for them this week, guess what? It's going to be another one which uses the Valby method. So we're going to go back to Agna Desert, because Agna Desert actually has 2 really good outposts. So I was showing you this one just now. Vermilion Waste over here also has an outpost in it. This is the one that I want you to target if you are looking for reactors for Jayber, Valby, and Gley this week. You'll be getting a decent amount. This is actually happens to be the best outpost to grind with the Valby method in terms of like reactors per hour, as well as character XP, weapon proficiency, gold, and Kuiper. So you're in for a whole bunch of that stuff, and like I said, a bunch of reactors. Hope you get lucky. Then next up we have season 2's biggest disappointment, Keelan, who also has a decent farm this week. I'm sorry to any Keelan mains out there, you have my sympathy, but Keelan uses toxic singular or toxic fusion. So either one of those 2 is okay, and the reason for that being it depends which one of his skills you want to focus on. So what you'll see is skill 1 and skill 4 use fusion, and skill 2 and skill 3 use singular. So his mobbing slash dashing around the world like a crazy motherfucker build uses Toxic Singular. And if that is the kind of reactor that you're looking for this week, which is Toxic Singularity, you are in luck. So we're going to go over here. We're going to go back to Fortress, and Fortress has another area in it called Converter Facility. Converter Facility has this outpost here, and this, I promise, is the last time, is an outpost that you can do in the Valby method. It is a relatively small footprint for an outpost, so you got to be extra special careful here that you don't kill the commander super fast. But if you can hold out for the entire 2 minutes and 40 seconds, you are going to be able to pull out a significant haul of reactors, and hopefully one of those is the Toxic Singularity reactor for your Keelan. Last but not least, Hailey and Viessa also feature this week. I promise this isn't a Valby farm. So basically, Hailey and Viessa, well, specifically if you build Viessa into a absolute zero Viessa, so you're using the Transcendent mod absolute zero, which turns all of your skills to Chill Singular, then Chill Singular is the best reactor for her, obviously. And Hailey also uses Chill Singular. That's her best reactor, so based in slot. So you could be farming for both of these descendants in one go by doing this particular farm. So Chill Singular, if you're looking for that this week, you have an old faithful, if I can put it that way. So Echo Swamp, you have Abandoned Zone over here, and you have a mission called Environment Contamination Zone. Super easy mission to run with a fast AoE clearer like Bunny or Valby. If you have to use Valby again, Freda works really well too. Idis works really well too. Technically speaking, you can use any descendant, but of course you want to be doing these mission rotations as fast as possible so you can get the maximum yield per hour. This mission drops a decent amount of reactors as well as other stuff like breakers and all kinds of shit, because you have yellow bars and everything here. And it's just overall, it's one of the more fun, I guess you could say, farms to do, depending on where you land on the spectrum with this kind of farming activity. Because it's a little bit more interactive than just going in a circle the whole time. You're kind of like going in an 8. So there's a little bit of difference there. But it's a fun little sort of sequence that you can run. And once you get it down to like a decent timing, it's fucking awesome. This works even better if you combine it with other people, because you can essentially have someone just kick off the mission the whole time while you just auto run, or you take turns. If you're equally far away from each other, while one guy is hitting the button, the other guy is usually already underneath the enemies that can die to your AoE skills. So super fun to get some kind of like a great timing worked out here with your buddies if you are playing in co-op, and you can actually farm a whole bunch of this shit for real. So then a special shout out that I also give every week when we do these is usually what you can also do is you can also check in the system here for any external components and if they have any good farms this week. Generally speaking, you'd be farming these if you're still looking to make like a farm set or something like that, because these drop non-set external components of like the golden variety, and those can of course have golden stats in them, and then they're like the best version of that shit. So this week, none of these are any good except processors. Processors have a farm here in Rockfall. Rockfall is in Sterile Land. And you have this mission here called Anticipated Ambush Point, another mission which is really good with a fast character, because it's a small sort of like area that you basically have to kill 4 to 5 groups in. It's small little clusters of 4 to 5 enemies that spawn at a time, and then culminating in a yellow bar that you kill, and then you go back down and you rinse repeat. This one especially works really well if you have someone manning the button at the bottom and you have someone killing at the top, and then every, let's say, 3 to 4 finishes, the button man just comes up and picks up some shit so that it doesn't despawn or something, you know, weird happens and they don't get their reactors, and then goes back down to press the button again. You can take turns, because of course being the button man might not be everybody's, you know, fucking wish for how they would have turned out in life, but it does work really well. And factually, I mean, a lot of these farms, except for the Valby farms, can be done a lot more efficiently and a lot faster, and probably in a way a lot more enjoyable if you actually buddy up with people to do it. So don't be afraid to public launch into these areas. Oftentimes you find other people doing this activity as well, and you can sort of like group up with them and work together, and that shit is kind of like what this game is missing, what it's all about. That's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate you for all the support, the content, everything like that with the First Descendant has been great. Patch is about to drop. We're getting Void Erosion all the way up to 30, which means tier X or tier 10 cores. Super excited for it. We're going to be leveling up some weapons real damn soon. I'll see you soon. And as always, fucking cheers.